The Narutoverse, like many other verses, has multiple dimensions that exist outside and inside the main universe that the story takes place in. The story doesn't start focusing on these realms until late in the war arc, but we're actually introduced to the idea of other realms all the way back in early Naruto. There's over 10 different dimensions that exist in the verse, and hopefully I'll be able to cover them all, since there's some smaller dimensions that are easily glanced over when you're just watching for entertainment. And before I start, I do want to clarify that I'm going to be using the science fiction definition of dimension, which can just mean an alternate reality, or a parallel universe, or universes that coexist with one another. But when it's time to switch over to the mathematics definition, I'll let that be known. So the first and most obvious dimension to go over would be the world of the living, or just the main universe itself. There's not really any databook statements that talk about the universe, but it should be based on our own, since it has constellations in it just like ours does, and in the novels, they even said that Saturn exists, which is a planet in our universe, so it should just be a standard universe similar to ours. The next dimension, or rather set of dimensions to talk about, is Kaguya's dimensions. She had access to 6 different dimensions during the war arc, and some of them are shown to have stars in them. Obito notes that her dimensions are abnormally large, despite him regularly traveling to and from the main Naruto universe, which might imply Kaguya's dimensions are larger, but other than that, there's nothing really definitive stated about their size, and we just know that they're there. Up next is Obito's Kamui dimension. The size of this dimension isn't really known, but considering Kakashi was planning to Kamui the entire Ten Tails in there, and the Ten Tails is bigger than the Nine Tails, who's comparable to the size of a mountain, so I can just say that the Kamui realm is at least the size of multiple mountains, but other than that, it just seems like a small pocket realm that Obito and Kakashi had access to. Following Obito's realm, we have Madara's Limbo realm. This realm is weird since it's stated to be both adjacent and extremely distant. I don't know how it's both, but it definitely seems to be more complex than the regular universe. It's an invisible realm that Madara can make shadows in, and these shadows can interact with people, but people can't interact with them. The realm is definitely a part of the more mysterious side of Naruto, and with the limited information we have on it, all we can really just say that it's a dimension with unknown size that you can't really interact with without having 6 paths chakra. This next realm we're going to go over is also pretty mysterious, and is known as the Pure Lands. The Pure Lands is where souls go after death, but it's also stated that gods of death exist there too. The size and structure of the Pure Land is unknown, and we literally don't know how it looks either. A sort of variation of the Pure Lands is Purgatory. You go to Purgatory when you have some type of regret or something that's keeping you from passing on. And we know this realm is different than the Pure Lands, since people who go to Purgatory, they keep their memories of being there, but when you're in the Pure Lands, you don't keep any of your memories from there. Purgatory is honestly just as unknown as the Pure Lands, so all we can really just say that it's another dimension that coexists with the universe. So this next dimension isn't really too important, and it appears for 1 chapter, I think, but it's the sealed dimension that exists inside one of the toads that Jiraiya can summon. This dimension is just a small area filled with a lake, but it's kind of interesting to think that there's possibly other toads or summonings in general that had dimensions sit within them that we just won't know about. The last dimension I want to talk about, at least before we get into the ones introduced in Boruto, is the subspace that teleportation users use to get from one place to another. A lot of people think Naruto characters are just teleporting to their seals, but they actually move into a space, then appear at their destination. We kind of see this subspace when Minato saves Naruto from Obito's explosive tags. Maybe since Boruto has his own version of Flying Raijin, we'll see the space depicted in the future, but for now we just know that it's just there and people can still interact with it. So yeah, now moving on to the dimensions in Boruto, the first one I want to talk about is Momoshiki's dimension. There's a statement in the anime calling this world a parallel dimension, and there's also promotional material calling it a parallel universe, so it should just be another universe that exists with the regular universe. We even see stars in the background with Momoshiki's launch into space because of Boruto's Rasengan, so it just adds on to the idea that it's its own universe that exists there. The next and honestly most important dimension in Boruto that we're going to go over is Kara's dimension. This is where Cole was watching the Ten Tails, and now where the Shinju stay. This dimension is stated to be only accessible by space-time ninjutsu, which is common among most dimensions, but it's explicitly stated for Kara's dimension. The size of this dimension is unknown, but there's at least a planet there that has a light source, so I'll just say it's at minimum star-sized realm, but it's likely a lot more to it. Following this dimension is Ashiki's Daikokuten dimension. The size of this dimension is unknown since we really don't have a scale for it, similar to how we don't have a scale for the Kamui realm, but the special thing about this dimension is that its flow of time is frozen. Gravity also seems to be affected in there too, since Naruto and Hinata are floating. The next one is an anime-only dimension, but I do consider the anime to be canon. This dimension is called the Time Room, I believe, and it was used for time travel during the Urashiki arc. You need a time turtle or whatever to get access to it, and I doubt it's going to be in the manga, but it does exist in the lore, and it does have to be counted. Now we're finally moving on to the last dimension, at least dimension in terms of a science fiction dimension, and this dimension is the one that Naruto and the others defeated the Shiki in. This is stated to be another dimension by Boruto, and we eventually might see it again when Boruto learns to fully control his karma in the future. But for now, we can just say that it's like a planet with a light source, but I do think we'll get more information about it. So switching over to mathematical dimensions, we have the dimension that the Otsutsuki gods evolved to. We don't know if they evolved to the 4th dimension, 5th dimension, or what specific number, but we know they're above the 3 spatial dimensions that regular people are in. This dimension has very little information on it, but we do know the gods there can still interact with the human world. We will definitely get more information when Boruto's learning about his Jogan, but for now we can just say that it's a higher dimension and that the Naruto versus Cosmology itself, at minimum, would have 4 spatial dimensions instead of the 3 spatial dimensions that most verses have. So yeah, that about wraps up the Cosmology. There's at least 18 different realms that you can travel between, and there's evidence of higher mathematical dimensions existing too. The Naruto vs. Cosmology, I think, is the best in the big 3, and I can definitely see more dimensions being introduced. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to see more of them, and thanks for watching.